New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani and Governor Chris Christie lauded Trump's use of the tax code. Watch.
The reality is, this is part of our tax code. The man's a genius. He knows how to operate the tax code for the benefit of the people he's serving.
What it shows is what an absolute mess the federal tax code is, and that's why Donald Trump is the person best positioned to fix it. There's no one who's shown more genius in their way to maneuver around the tax code and to rightfully use the laws.
I want to bring in Betsy McCoy right now. She is former New York lieutenant governor and a Trump economic advisor, and Ohio State Senator Capri Cafaro. Good to see you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And Betsy, let me kick it off with you. You're a Trump supporter. You heard the news. Do you think this strategy of saying he was a genius effectively deflects how this may resonate with voters who may be upset?
The fact is, it's important to say that because since 1918, it has been perfectly legal and, in fact, encouraged for risk takers, entrepreneurs, whether they're builders or investors of other types or somebody opening a corner drugstore, to take risks. And one way that they're encouraged to take risks is the tax code says, look, if you have a big loss, you can apply that loss against future earnings, right? It makes it less painful to incur that loss, and so people build more, create more jobs as a result. The New York Times article presented this in a sleazy way. The article was full of innuendo that somehow Donald Trump had done something morally defective, if not illegal, when in fact he's doing exactly what Congress encourages Americans everywhere to do: take risks, build buildings, create jobs.
That's absolutely right. Capri, I mean, look, there's no secret here. I mean, the mainstream media is calling this a bombshell. I'm trying to figure out where the bombshell is, because there's no secret that the tax code allows you to offset losses to your income for 15 years. So he could be off, or 18 years. Be offsetting 3 years prior to 1995 and 15 years afterwards.
Exactly. Well, you know, I mean, I think there are two things at play here. One is the political narrative. You know, anytime someone, you know, withholds information or is reluctant to release it on their own, you know, it allows the media, in this case, as well as, you know, your opponent, to write the narrative for you. And this is what's happening, unfortunately, for Donald Trump. People are filling in the blanks, trying to make this out to be something much bigger, trying to say that, you know, he's shirking his responsibility. You know, there's something bigger here that he's hiding. And so, you know, that's the risk that you have in politics. Now, the reality is exactly what you guys have just said. I mean, net operating loss carryovers exist both at the state and the federal level. You also have the issue of depreciation for, you know, real property, which he also can take advantage of. And so, you know, there are two things at play here: the reality of the tax code and the political optics. Unfortunately, the political optics aren't fantastic for him, but the reality is we haven't had federal tax reform in any meaningful way since 1986. So I don't think he's done anything illegal here.
Which pushes the question, why, Dagan? Why no tax reform?
Because, again, it benefits both parties. The very practice that Donald Trump used in this report from the New York Times has been backed on both sides of the aisle, and they make no move to get rid of it. But that goes to the point of, I want to raise the issue of, like, do people care about this issue? Because the Wall Street Journal actually polled voters on this in September, and just 6% said their top concern was Donald Trump's refusal to release his income tax return.
So I think their top concern is what their own income tax return is going to look like, how much money they're going to earn in the future. That's what Americans want the media and the candidates to talk about.
The reason I don't think that this resonates, in part, you see polls, but also anybody who has self-employment income knows that you can take losses and carry them forward in other years. Half of the country pays no net federal income tax, so somebody knows how to use the tax code to their advantage, not just Donald Trump.
I love the mainstream media calling it bombshell. What's bombshell? That he followed the law? I'm trying to figure out where the bombshell is.
Well, my question is, though, let's say we reform the taxes, you're not going to have loss carry forwards going forward any longer?
That would be bad.
That would be a terrible thing for the United States. Okay, so we have a war on capital going on. We have tax shaming, which Betsy called it in the green room as we were getting ready here. And it's a system that I think is going to drive people crazy if we don't fix it. But Mr. Trump didn't do anything wrong. If anything, all he's trying to do, he's a risk taker in the free enterprise system. What risks has Secretary Clinton taken to make the $250 million that she's earned?
Good point. The fact is most politicians get a paycheck from the taxpayer. They are bloodsuckers and parasites.
Well, my concern is the political ramifications of this, and I saw the surrogates out there calling this genius. No, this is business as usual. This is how any small business, or how anyone would operate.
Yeah.
So I think that makes him sound like a manipulator. I think that's a mistake.
Well, the other thing is they're focused. The other side is trying to use this on the campaign trail, which is